The major takeaway for the book of Judges is that the leadership is degrading. The Israelites are becoming like the Canaanites, and there's all kinds of bickering, there's all kinds of fighting. And then the leaders that come while deliverance is given, it's not exactly the unifying thing that we need. We're really laying the ground for Samuel and for the coming King David. There needs to be a unification that needs to happen amongst Israel. They've left Egypt, they've come into the promised land, but this land flowing with the milk and honey, don't seem to be experiencing this wonderful peace that they should be. And we see that the Israelites are going to be divided and they are going to fall. We see another civil war happening within themselves. Maybe civil war is too big of at least a major conflict within the tribes. When I come up here to the map before we look at this, you see the divisions of the tribes. The Jordan River right here, if you see my crosshairs, right there's the Jordan River, and it is dividing West Manasseh, East Manasseh, Gad right here, and Ephraim. So there's going to be a battle between Jephthah and the Ephraimites, and it's going to be right here along the Jordan River. Now, um, Jephthah is a Gileadite. He's from Gilead. And so Gilead is, if you see my crosshairs, it's here in this area on the east side of the Jordan River. And you see he's kind of right here, squeezed in behind the technical um, uh, designations of Manasseh and Ephraim. Apparently, Ephraim is kind of controlling more than what this map and the original divisions of where the tribes were supposed to be, where Joshua is. So by this point, Ephraim is kind of running and living in this area right here. The Gileadites are right here. This would be the place of Gilead. You see Jabesh Gilead. So you see this whole area would be called Gilead. It's going to be important here in a little bit for you to understand the Jordan River and how that affects between Manasseh and Ephraim and the Gileadites being in between. The Gileadites were a big group of people, but uh, they become so big that they're almost their own entity, if you will. So let's jump into the story here. We took 2.5 minutes to talk about all that. So the men of Ephraim were called to arms, and they crossed to Zaphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites, and why did you not call us to go with you?" There's a great victory that the Lord gave them, and the Ephraimites are upset that Jephthah did not call them. It was dishonorable to them and a shame to them. And they said, "Because you do this, we're going to burn your house over you with fire." Well, if you remember, something very similar happened with Gideon. He was challenged in the same way by saying, "Why did you go do this without asking us to help?" And Gideon had that soft answer that turned away wrath. Well, Jephthah is not in the line of Gideon. He is going to ramp it up. He is going to make sure the divisions are there. I have it marked as a sin because he says, "When I called you, you did not save me from their hand." Probably a true statement. It was definitely true with Gideon. But Gideon says, "Oh, you all are so much greater than me." What he tries to just disarm them with what he was saying. But Jephthah is turning up the heat. And then he says, you wouldn't save me. And when I saw that you would not save me, I took my life in my own hand. Thank you very much. And I went and had war against the Ammonites. Why then have you come up this day to fight against me? And then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. So they are fighting. They're right on the banks of the Jordan River. There is a division. There is a civil war that's happening. The judges, they were supposed to have left the slavery of Egypt and come into the promised land. It's supposed to be a land flowing with milk and honey. It's supposed to be peace here. It's supposed to be wonderful, but this is not what's happening. Terrible leaders, and now not only do they have the outside forces attacking them, they're attacking each other. This is terrible. This is the effects of the fall. This is effects of humanity being sinful. So in the midst of this fighting, they take over the fords of the Jordan River, the shallow point of the river where they would have to cross over. And the Gileadites are in charge of the shallow areas of the Jordan. And since they would have looked similar, right? They're all Israelis. The only way to really tell the difference is how they spoke their Hebrew. And so when somebody was trying to cross the Jordan River to go back to Ephraim, the Gileadites would ask them, "Are you an Ephraimite?" And when he said no, they said, "Well, then say Shibboleth," because the Ephraimites apparently had a hard time saying the schwa sound, the sh. They said Sibboleth, and they could not say that. So that was the big giveaway that they were not a Gileadite. They were an Ephraimite with their odd pronunciation, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slaughtered him at the fords of the Jordan. At that time, 42,000 of the Ephraimites fell. It's a large number of their uh, own nation, their own flesh and blood dying. We think about the Civil War, the greatest casualties that America has had in any of its conflicts has been the Civil War, because both sides contributed to the casualty count. Divisions cause great hurt and great disaster. 42,000 Ephraimites fell. When we get to Samson and we think about how strong he was and how powerful he was, he did not come close to killing 42,000 Philistines. This is a large amount of Israelites that are failing. Another great tragedy is going to happen toward the end of the book of Judges as well. So just a terrible end here. Jephthah's already he's already sacrificed his daughter to the Lord. He shouldn't have done that, made that vow to do that. Now he's killing Israelites. We need a much better deliverer. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years, and is probably thankful that it was only 6 years. And then we have three minor judges mentioned. Ibzan of Bethlehem. So we now have a Judean, a Judah judge. And then we have Elon the Zebulunite. And then we have Abdon, the son of Heliel, the Pirathonite, judged Israel. And yeah, we have this mention of the 70 donkeys. So that means of wealth and being in control. Three judges that we don't have much information on, but we would probably guess that maybe they didn't have some fantastical stories for them to mention, but probably not as not the kind of leaders that we need. I pray that's been a help to you and a blessing. And I'll see you in the next video.